TV now.
Randomly, because it was on like the first episode on, what was it, TBS or something like that?
TNT, yeah.
TNT. Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty good. I liked it.
It's gotten a lot better too. They went through a brief period where they were still trying to figure out. It was obvious that like they were figuring out which cooks in the kitchen are supposed to be doing what. But like over the past month or so, really since the beginning of the year, so the past couple months, it has been killer. It has been absolutely fantastic.
That's where Jericho is, right?
Yeah,
he's like the big star.
Yeah, and he's amazing. He's fantastic.
And Jim Ross is there too, right?
Yeah, Jim, dude, a lot of the names. Like Jake Roberts is there now. I
can't believe he's still alive. I saw him like trending on wrestling Twitter a few weeks back, and I was like, wait, I could have sworn Jake Roberts died like 20 years ago.
So technically he might have a couple times, but he's still with us.
Oh, didn't DDP like pull him back from the brink of death?
Both him and Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. Yeah.
Yep.
DDP is like he's like an inspirational workout fitness guru now, right?
Yeah, he's got the touch,
save lives.
Yep.
I think he tried to save that fat guy Boogie's life, but then he just got like a lap band surgery and new teeth.
Yeah.
And then he went out and bought a $100,000 Tesla and begs his Twitch followers for money for it. Anyways,
isn't it so weird though? Like we've been in like the YouTube like structure for such a long time now that all the people that made it back in the day, they were all going through these weird, like every once in a while, some of the more popular people from back then, I'll just look up to see if they're doing anything. Yeah. And it's such a weird world.
Tyler Oakley's a landlord and he's getting blasted online for it.
A lot of landlords get blasted these days. Who? There's another
Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal Buress, yeah.
Let's see here. Try to get through the rest of these super chats. Thank you very much, Stephen C. $10 from Canada. Reporting in from Toronto. Let's see, Sean. Thank you very much. Thanks for the Tiger documentary recommendation. You're welcome. Daniel.
That's your profile picture, right, Steve? But you put Undertaker's face on.
The Undertaker with a tiger. Yeah. And in fact, I offer this up on our Patreon. It's a coloring.
Oh,
book.
We can't see.
He disappeared.
Wait, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this.
All I see is Dr. Anthony Fauci, a hero.
Hold on, Steve. I'll put it as my background. I have it at the ready.
Okay, while you do that really quick, Diacus Prime, $50 super chat. Chris Benoit and Scott Steiner are my favorite wrestlers. Too bad neither one of them will make it into the faux physical WWE Hall of Fame. Then again, that's probably a good thing. Stay safe from the Rona, and working in essential retail sucks. All right, there we go.
What's the deal with Scott Steiner? Other than his weird chest.
He had a heart thing recently.
Yeah, he's like 60 years old,
and he owns a restaurant in suburban Atlanta.
He owns a Shoney's out there. And he's getting the concave chest thing.
I used to love Shoney's. I bet it's not as good anymore.
He's got a concave chest thing going.
Yeah.
That just happens. Like Jericho has that. That just happens to people.
Yeah, you overwork your pecs, the ligaments, they start stretching out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that actually how it goes? Okay.
Yeah, I read about this years ago. I'm probably wrong, but it's
well, thank you, Diacus Prime.
It's a wrestling thing.
For the super chat. Very generous. Patrick Sparks, Stan G, Rebecca Corrales with 10,000 Costa Rican colons is what they're called.
Wow. Okay.
It's $17. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Diego, been watching you guys since 2014. Start chemo this Monday for sarcoma, not fatal but still cancer. Would mean a lot to hear from you. Love from Chile. Thank you very much, Diego. Good luck.
Thank you, Diego.
With the chemo.
You got this.
It's probably gonna suck, but you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Nick C says the 4 horsemen of YouTube. Thank you very much. Anyways, I wanna get your guys' opinion. I thought it was just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. We were talking about it briefly a couple minutes ago, but the WWE's phenomenal acting and just brilliant production, like editing, with the lack of crowds.
Oh,
the empty stadium where they're still acting in full force.
Yeah. So like the thing is when they train their wrestlers, they really don't teach them how to do an entrance without a crowd, because why would they ever need to do that?
Yeah.
So like when the wrestlers come out now, they do their exact routine, and a lot of the time that incorporates crowd appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like looking around and saying, "Hey, look at you," and it's like there's nobody there. Who are you looking at? Why are you doing that?
Yeah. AEW, they had their first empty arena show last week, right?
Yeah.
And it was noticeably different, just in terms, I feel like, in terms of how the wrestlers reacted to the not crowd. And I was kind of wondering that so many of them were not that far removed from working shows in front of 100 people.
Yeah.
That maybe the leap from working in front of 100 people to 0 people isn't quite as vast as opposed to working in front of 8,000 people to 0 people. And they're not like WWE's training is very regimented in terms of there's a well-known WWE way of working. Yeah. And part of that is really playing to the crowd and doing that. And I guess there's old habits that are tough to.
Well, so that's what I'm wondering is like, that's the thing is it was for someone that isn't used to watching it all the time. I feel like the first one back, like they were all kind of like in on the joke.
Yeah.
And you know, it was obviously it was they looked like having a lot of fun with it, but like they can't really. I don't know, but I don't think they can keep that going forever. But it looked like from what I was seeing, like the clips of it made it amazing because you're watching like the most ridiculous thing. It's like watching them perform Shakespeare in like while like practicing in front of an empty house. But taking it as seriously as possible. But that can't go on forever. So how are they going to pivot towards going back to like the storylines?
Part of it too is like that first episode of SmackDown where Triple H was on commentary and just having a blast and kind of poking fun at everybody and everything was great. Yeah. Problem is, I don't think outside of like farts and snow cones, Vince really likes fun.
Yeah.
And so he's got a very specific idea of what wrestling needs to be, and anything that deviates from that, he wants nothing to do with, even if his son-in-law is doing it.
Yeah.
So Steve has a theory, and I'll let him expound upon it more, that Vince saw that, hated it, and then really like tightened the bolts come the following Raw.
Well, yeah, there's a couple. I do think that that's the case. I think that SmackDown, like we saw it, and we were like, holy crap, this is a lot of fun. It's, you know, Triple H, he was just clowning the whole time. And it's so, not that I really endorse this line of thought, but I understand that you're heading towards WrestleMania. And so it's like your big event. And regardless if you can't put on like this big spectacle, you still have the biggest storylines of the year that you have to drive to. And they have to, I mean, they're fake, but they're fights. Yeah. So there has to be some element of drama there. And so it can't be a clown show all the time. And I do think that Vince probably absolutely hated the fun element of it, but I understand from their perspective that it can't be like a dude just making fun of your product the entire time, even if it's his son-in-law, Triple H.
True, yeah.
And so we had even said during our review of that episode of SmackDown, we had both theorized, you know what, chances are this, because it was so sudden and in the moment, that lent itself to it being fun. But as soon as they have a second to think about it, they're going to overthink it, and all the fun is going to be sapped out of it. And that's literally what happened on Raw. The next episode, it was like,
it was just boring. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes till we got a match.
Yeah.
Of a 3-hour show or a new match.
Yeah, they've been playing like replays, like from like classic matches from the past, which is fine. You have to fill the time somehow. But yeah, it was obvious at that first episode. It was like everybody's flying by the seat of their pants. This is uncharted territory. They're all improvising, and that added such a spark of energy to it. And then all of a sudden you have a week, or you have a weekend basically to sort of, okay, how are we going to make this what it used to be? Well, you can't, but Vince knows what wrestling is in his own mind. And then it just, all the fun gets sucked out of it.
So what's the status with WrestleMania currently?
It's happening. It's going to be over 2 days, April 4th and 5th. It's going to be at the Performance Center, so it's going to be in front of no audience. Predominantly Performance Center. It's being
filmed tomorrow and Thursday.
Jesus.
They've got at least 2 matches that could be gimmicked. So like there's one, it's like we're thinking it's going to be a Buried Alive match, which is going to take place in some sort of cemetery somewhere. So we think that that's going to be pre-filmed on location at a cemetery of some sort.
Yeah.
That's going to be AJ Styles and The Undertaker.
Imagine you're like burying your like grandfather. And then, like, all of a sudden, Vince shows up in a semi-truck. Yeah, we got The Undertaker here.
The Undertaker and a tiger there.
Yeah. But then you're really excited because you get to see a wrestling match for free.
I know, exactly. I didn't want to be here.
This is what Grandpappy would have wanted.
It's what Grandpappy would have wanted. He loved the stories back in the day.
Here, use his grave. So they're recording it this week. And it's it's in April that it'll air?
April 4th and 5th, yeah.
So we're about about 10 days out.
Yeah,
so
roughly.
it's still going to be pay-per-view. They're going to charge for it.
Yeah.
Well, so if you get the WWE Network, which is like $10 a month, you get it. You just get.
Or if you're a new subscriber, I think you get it for free.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
they say that a lot. So
yeah, I remember signing up for a free trial whenever it first started because I was like interested in going back and watching the Attitude Era.
Oh, it's got a ton of awesome. Like I love watching. They've got so much like regional wrestling from like the 80s, which is the best because it's like. Obviously these guys have like roid zits all over their backs and it's just they're saying things that like would not fly today. So like Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Mid-Atlantic
Mid-South.
Wrestling.
That's why all the wrestlers
Mid-South.
they would move to Florida so they could get tans to hide all their steroid zits.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was a strategic plan.
That no state income tax.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
D Minor, thank you for the super chat. Stan G says no sympathy for landlords. Huey with the $10. Favorite machinima memories. Been watching you all four of you since I was 14 and I'm 20 now. Do you have any good machinima memories?
Yeah.
guys?
Oh, we have tons because we weren't there. We were on an island.
We only
So,
come for the
like-
party, so we had
Yeah.
all the good memories.
It
Pretty
was
much.
the thing. We would show up, and then you guys and like the Inside Gaming guys, we would just get to hear all the stories that we didn't have to live through.
Yeah.
And it was like everybody has fun when you're just miserable together. And so, no, all of my memories, anyways, are like really great.
Yeah, you guys would come for like the Inside Gaming Awards. and-
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was
The
a
Inside
blast.
Gaming Awards were a blast.
We'd come for that and E3 and a couple of other times through the course of the year, and it was always fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
When's the
Yeah,
next
well,
time you're
that-
coming down?
It was during the period where they were just spending like stupid amounts of money. They were just throwing money around on like parties is like this thing that startups do where they're like gotta just blow a bunch of money on like fucking parties all the time so people know you're there.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we're broke. We need money. Please invest. And yeah, like the IGAs at like the Henry Fonda Theater,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
had
yeah.
to have cost like $100,000.
Well, that was
tons.
that was sponsored by Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
yeah,
That's right.
true.
And then what was his name?
Well, the Porter Robinson, was that he?
Porter
did the show
Robinson
afterwards? Yeah.
performed to 5 people. It was like me, Sark, Tiffy, Cupquake, Red, and a couple others. And I just remember like they had the after party upstairs, and they had Porter Robinson. This is obviously before he was big, but still, they had him playing downstairs, but we knew who he was. So it was like 5 or 6 of us downstairs, and I remember like going upstairs and like trying to convince people like, "Hey, you should come downstairs." And one of the executives, or not executives at the time, was like, "Nobody gives a shit who Porter Robinson is."
Like, well, why did you pay him to play your party? God
Hey,
damn.
is the guy that laid us off, is he still in prison right now?
I think he might have gotten out. If he
yeah.
wasn't already released on time served, they probably released him because they were like, "Listen, buddy, I don't know if you are aware of this, but while you were in prison, we kind of had a little bit of a pandemic, so we're just gonna let you go." But I'm glad the world is worse off when he got out than when he left it. So, if just out of spite, I'm glad that he comes home to a wrecked planet.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's out. I think he had like, what is it, 3 months? So
something like that.
yeah.
Super Saiyan Blast, thank you for the super chats. Fawn North, Zarko Sekovsky, thank you very much. Let's see. Whoop, there you go. Real GHD. Thank you guys. Thank you. So, what are you guys currently up to aside from the show? How's life? You're obviously still fathers. How is that going? We need some dadcast content here.
Yeah, that's
going
what the
okay.
people. That's what the people
Yeah.
really want. That's what we've been advertising all day: is the return of Dadcast. It's either Dadcast or we need to do Winter Movie Preview 2015.
Everything's postponed though. Like all the movies are getting postponed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There are no movies. Holy
no
shit.
movies.
That's
All the
right.
Winter movie
2021.
preview 2021.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Wonder Woman
Yeah.
just got moved back to August, so it's not fully. They didn't take as broad of a stroke as, Fast and Furious and some other movies, but
And
so
Bond
yeah,
got
it's
moved in
back-
November, right?
Yeah, so Wonder Woman's moved back to August now, which is typically a dumping ground. It's like the hey, last week's the summer, you got nothing to do. Come see the worst movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting move on their part. Top Gun hasn't been moved yet, I don't think.
Yeah, the Top Gun. That's very on brand. That's
Top
a
Gun.
very
We
80s way of thinking right
refuse.
there.
We refuse to move away from the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Real patriots only. Top Gun 2.
Pack the theaters. Cough on it.
So what's up with parenthood?
It's going good.
So
Yeah.
I've figured out that I have parented every age through adulthood now, because my oldest stepkid is 21.
Whoa!
Yeah, Lacey
guys
started
getting drunk
early. Not yet, not yet, but that's probably going to happen at some point. So no, yeah, my actual child is 5, and that's when I met Lacey. Her youngest stepkid was 5.
Okay.
So like I have parented the entire spectrum of childhood up to adulthood.
Yeah.
And,
Is it still the stereotypical like 2 to 3 year olds is the hardest, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 to 3 was the worst. Was the hardest
How old's
period.
yours now?
6 and 4. They're about to turn 7 and 5.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, 2 to 3 was the worst. Because
Well,
especially 3, because they understand more, and that's when they kind of try to actually outwardly manipulate,
okay.
rather than just have fits.
Yeah.
That's what I found, at least. But yeah, once you get past that point where you can actually communicate with them and try to reason with them, then it gets much easier.
It's like the sociopath stage.
Testing the boundaries of what they can get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine still tries to test quite a bit.
So what's the like having absolutely no experience except being a teenager? What are the teen years like? Is that like cruise control and you just kind of like they're their own person, or what's up with that?
It really depends on the kid. So like I've got 3 stepkids, and I've got 1 niece who I had a really heavy hand in raising because we lost her dad like when she was like 4.
Okay.
And so like a couple of my stepkids, like 2 of them are like really mellow. The 21-year-old was a handful at the teenage years, and then my niece is a bit of a handful in the teenage years.
Okay.
Like she's super crazy good at like academically, but she will say, "I hate you, you're not my dad," in a heartbeat.
Jeez.
And so like we get along better when her mom is like much more heavily involved.
Yeah.
Like so like whenever like my sister, she goes like for business trips, she'll like go for business trips, and then I'll have my niece, and it's like I love her to death. I love her more than anything on the planet. But like we don't get along great when she's in the same house as me. Like she's just that kind of teenager.
Yeah.
But like the ones that are here, during the week, and then they go to their dads on the weekends, they're like super chill. They just take care of themselves. Like I rarely see them, and they're like actually really cool. So even my niece is really cool to hang out with when she isn't like, I don't know. It's one of those things where if she's not getting her way, she's awesome. I mean, if she is getting her way, she's great. She's fantastic. It's the second she doesn't get her way, it's like, oh, I don't want to be here right now. But no, it kind of runs the gamut, like in terms of like what the kid's disposition is.
Yeah.
Like I've had them say, "You're not my dad," and I've had them like treat me very much like the same way that they would like their actual dad. So
Yeah.
it's all over the map. But
Yeah,
it gets easier like when they're teenagers. Like for the most part, they just sort of take care of themselves. They can figure stuff out. They're a lot of fun to talk to. Like they're like one of my stepkids, like she's really into the nerd stuff like me. So like, we can, if they're like when the new Batmobile, they had like a picture of that. I was like, Summer, look at this. It's like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's like having little friends.
Do they watch your show?
No. Although my youngest does like watching, especially AEW. She knows who Chris Jericho is.
Uh-huh.
Cody is her favorite, although my oldest prefers Jericho over Cody. So they'll watch AEW with me because that's the one show that I'll watch before they go to bed usually. So they'll watch a little bit of that, but I think that's about it.
No.
They don't watch our show though. No.
I'm hoping, as long as everything works right down there, to within the next couple of years have one. What's give me some your top 10 piece of advice for the specific age ranges, baby to like 2, then the crazier years, then teenage years. What are your top tips for child rearing?
The early years, you got to bring baby wipes with you everywhere because you never know when you're gonna have a blowout.
Blowout.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Honestly, the baby years, like, just keep them alive.
Yeah, keep them alive and make sure they don't crap on everything.
Like, that is the number one thing that's just on your mind the entire time, and it's a lot easier than you think it is, because you think it's going to be like the most. They're so fragile when they're that tiny, and you just think that they can die in an instant. And I mean, they can. There's a thing called SIDS. That's totally a real thing. But you think that's going to happen always.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. They're actually fairly resilient.
How long did it take you to like get a good night's sleep after you had your kid? Like, because I would imagine you're up being like, if I take my eyes off of this little human being, it's going to like crawl out or roll over and smother itself.
Yeah, it was. Well, okay. So one thing that I had is that because my wife had populated so much before I even came around.
Yeah.
I have like trust in her. Like, she's done a really good job raising her kids.
Yeah.
And so it's like I could kind of take some, but still, like, yeah, the first couple weeks, like at the least every couple hours, you're waking up. Is it okay? Okay. It's
well,
alive.
also the baby also every couple hours is waking up to eat. So
yeah. Okay.
Your hand is kind of forced in that respect too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elliot, what was that last background you just had? Was that Gavin Newsom?
No.
Okay, I was just looking by the slick back haircut.
Yeah, I thought that too. I think both our kids were roughly 6 months before they slept. Before they started sleeping through the night, although our youngest still wakes up a fairly regular basis in the middle of the night for some reason. But for us, like when they were young, we had a little co-sleeper on the side of the bed. So we could sleep, and then when they woke up, my wife would feed, put them back to bed, and then it was pretty. We have to like they didn't sleep in bed with us because if that were the case, my worry would be like I'm gonna roll over and I'm gonna smush my kid in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
we just had the thing off the side, and then roughly about 6 months in, we started transitioning to their own room.
All right.
So
how about schools? Homeschool, public school, private school? What are we looking at here, fellas?
Public.
Yeah, so like we did daycare at a Montessori, at like a private school, and she's there for now, and then she starts kindergarten in August, and it's totally public from there.
Yeah, our youngest is
little
in
private school kid roaming.
Yeah, they're going to public school.
Nice.
Totally.
Elliot, do you have any questions? Are you going to be a dad one day?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
especially like right now. Like I don't think about it in general, but like currently, just like the idea of just like, wouldn't it be funny to have a baby during a pandemic?
That's kind of during a pandemic. Exactly.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, even like waiting and then having one, it's like having lived through a recession.
There you go.
A recession and 9/11 and now a pandemic. I'm like, fuck, man, my kids are gonna have to live through so much shit that I can't even fathom right now. Like, who the fuck knows what's gonna happen? Who am I to bring a child into this terrible, fucked up world, especially this country? But
yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. Like Alabama, she was watching her phone the other day. She was watching YouTube Kids or whatever, like a science video talking about the coronavirus. So she's like, hey, they're talking about coronavirus. Like all of her because so she still goes to daycare, but it's also like a school.
Yeah.
And so they're still open, and like their class size has been slashed by like half because
kids are immune though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so like I talked to like the administrator of the school, and she's like, yeah, we're trying to keep them 6 feet away from each other. I'm like, you have 12 kids in the class and you're trying to keep them 6 feet away, and they're all like ranging between the ages of like 3 and 5.
Never gonna
that's
happen.
how Montessori does it. And so like Lacey was like, how are you going to do that? And Alabama piped up and said, measuring, duh. Listen, kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing in the class, but the kids do take it seriously. Like,
yeah, it sounds like they're taking it more seriously than like.
Yeah, they are. They are.
The president and several like major government officials throughout the country.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Yeah.
Let me see if we got. I hit up the supporters section on the Discord for some questions.
Supporters section.
Let's see here. Anubis asks, how long do you think it'll take before you start getting a little bit loopy with the quarantine? Like, are you guys coping? How are things going with that? Especially, it's got to be weirder for you because you have entire families with you, whereas like me and Elliot, we have our wives and that's it.
Yeah, I'm worried. Like my wife, she works at the post office. She like works the window there. I think and like, so I kind of get concerned about that. Like she's worried about it and I'm worried about it because it's like all these yokels coming in. They're like, hey, can I mail this?
Yeah.
And that bugs the shit out of her. So like, you know, my mother-in-law, she calls us the other day. She's like, hey, she's like 70 something years old. And she's like, hey, I'm at Costco right now. What do you guys need? I'm like,
get out of there.
Why are you doing that?
We need you
get
to
out
leave.
Of there.
It's like Star Trek 3. Get out of there.
Yeah, the place about to blow up with coronavirus.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so like that doesn't really like she don't live here, but it's like that kind of shit really freaks us out because like our parents are old now.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom and dad, they're in Paraguay right now because that's where my mom is from, and they went there like in early March, and I'm telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, don't come back. Don't come back yet. And he's like, oh, I'll be fine. If the planes, I'm like, Dad, you're doing the thing where you're just not caring about something that's very serious.
Yeah.
Because that's what boomers do.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, do not come back. So finally, I think a bunch of their flights have literally been canceled like way in advance. So I don't think they're even going to be able to come back until like mid-May.
My dad, who I've already mentioned on the show, is a fucking Trump supporter, like conservative old dude. He is not taking this serious at all. I showed Elliot the picture the other day where he was like, how's lockdown? And I was like, I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. And he's like, everything's all good here in Florida. And it's like, it said like, we ain't worried, and did like a thumbs up. And then he sent me a picture of like him and 5 of his like aging friends at a bar drinking beers, like hanging all over each other. I'm just like,
Jesus.
I'm like, Dad, I'm going to have to watch you die from 2,000 miles away on FaceTime. Like, is that really how you want me to remember you, as a fucking ignorant asshole who took it all the way to the grave? And I guess that's what he wants. Because I called him 2 days later, like this weekend, and I'm like, hey, everything good? And he's like, I got the inside tip. And I'm about to share it with everyone that's watching. He's like, I got the inside tip. You see these people running around like crazy looking for paper towels and soap? Nobody knows this. You go down to the AutoZone, the Pep Boys. Nobody's thinking about going down to AutoZone to get paper towels. They have the best paper towels that money can buy because they're supposed to pick up grease and oil. They got the best soap.
Those
that
blue
you can
ones
buy.
are great.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you got our bathroom, our kitchen, nothing but blue paper towels and the best soap money can buy. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, it looks like you're taking it serious. He's like, oh, I'm down on Longboat Key with the motorcycle right now. I'm out of the bar. Oh, okay, so you're not taking it seriously. Well, pick up some more blue paper towels. Fuck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was telling my dad, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the e-cart thing where I just order online and they come out and bring me the stuff. And he's like, okay, listen, this is what I want you to do. Get 10 cans of beans. And then the next time you go, get 10 more cans of beans until you have 30 cans of beans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why? That's what I'm going to eat. All right. I can handle that, Dad. Just promise you don't come back.
I'll be expecting 30 cans of beans upon arrival.
Exactly.
Damn
After
it,
your
Steve,
arrivals gate.
where are my beans?
I see 29 cans of beans. Where's the other beans?
You didn't think I would count the beans, did you? You thought I'd see a big pile of beans and be happy with that. No.
I'm going to check
beans.
your cabinets for beans.
You don't think I can eyeball 30 cans of beans?
I was in Nam. I know what 30 cans of beans look like.
These cans are a little bit light. Did you drain all the delicious water out of these cans?
That can hydrate you for 3 weeks.
You know how good bean water is for you? It's got protein.
I hear bean water cures corona.
That's what the president said.
That's what the president said.
He said
everybody's drinking bean water.
You got to drink. You take the bean water, you mix it in an aquarium, and there you go. You got your cure. Real DGH, thank you for the super chat. Jeff Kawabe with a $20 saying I'm a Porter fan, so have the super chat for that story. Thank you. Then we have Lloyd Moore with a $10 super chat. My favorite fathers and sons reunited. Also, if y'all could show Elliot some Orange Cassidy footage.
Oh yeah, you'd like that.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy's
okay.
great.
We'll send you some stuff. You'll fall in love with him. Everybody does.
All right. Who's Orange Cassidy?
Oh, we can't.
Oh, okay.
We can't.
All
we
right.
will send it to you. You cannot explain Orange Cassidy. You have to experience Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, it's better to
Okay.
explain.
All
Yeah,
right.
to experience. Sorry, yeah.
Joe Jen wants to hear more Machinima war stories, horror stories. Let's see, and Quentin Smith with the $5. Thank you guys. I don't know about like we've already been over so many of the horror stories in the past, and you guys don't really have because you weren't like in
The only like
bunkers every
machinima
day.
horror stories I have is when I was actually working in the office, and Elliot experienced some of this. Was doing that Terminator series when we were working
it was
90-hour
like,
weeks. That was
It was
rough.
a company that had only been around for like 2 years, taking on essentially a feature-length film project,
Yeah.
and not knowing at all how the fuck to do that, and also
No.
doing it in the medium of like actual machinima where you're capturing game footage and like trying to build a story around it.
Yeah.
It was just a fucking nightmare.
Well,
Like,
the original scenario wasn't to actually get into the game engine, though. It was actually to machinimate it in the game itself.
yeah.
So one day I was tasked with going in to my office and saying, "All right, here's a script. See how well you can do this in the game." And I'm looking at the script, and there's all this dialogue, and I'm like, "Well, how the fuck am I supposed to do dialogue?" So I was like, "Oh, there's cutscenes. I'll cap that. I'll grab someone else. We'll redub this shit. Cool." And then like the action bits in the game are scripted a certain way, and it doesn't in any way match up what's going on in the script of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
Just do it like Red versus Blue. You just you'll make it work.
And so I go and I have a conversation. I'm like, I don't think this is possible to do in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so our boss at the time comes and sits in with me for a while, and he's trying to do it too. And I'm like, so? And he's like, yeah. So thankfully, then they said, okay, you can actually crack into the actual engine of the game, and they brought a couple of the dudes.
Yeah,
one of the
they flew
developers.
2 guys over from Sweden from the original dev team, who also both lost their minds in the process.
Yes,
Like
one of
they-
them disappeared for a week.
Yeah, they made it through actually developing the video game, but when it come to making the game do something it wasn't designed to do, they
Is this
both
Is
fell
this
into
still
the pit of
online? Is
despair.
it backed up anywhere?
I don't think it's. I think it was never free online. You had to buy it through iTunes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can still be found though in bargain bins at like Walmart.
Yeah, I think I have a
throughout the
DVD of it
country.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be on like Vimeo or something like hosted.
Oh, maybe.
Someone's got it on there. I don't know.
I mean, considering the limitations of that we had, it came out pretty good.
What was it called? What was the official title?
Terminator Salvation, the Machinima series.
If anyone can find it online right now, send it to a mod or post it on the Discord so we can see it.
It's not good. It's
They've got
like,
it for $2 on eBay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not great, and I mean, we had to
Especially
do
11
an
years
episode a
later.
week.
Yeah.
That
Quentin
was
Smith,
insane.
thank you for the super chat. Rod Films asks, any TV shows you guys recommend? I'm really bored since my work and college closed.
Hey, you guys watch The Outsider?
I didn't finish it. I think I have like 2 episodes left.
I finished it. I liked it. I
started
thought
off
that-
very strong and sort of
Yeah.
got less strong as it progressed.
Yeah. And by the end, like you really appreciate the characters, but
Yeah.
like it doesn't get much past like standard horror movie
Yeah.
fare.
Yeah, that's
But
too
it's
bad.
got a really great first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I was hooked at first, and then I don't know, it kind of lost its focus a bit after that. But I need to finish it.
I just started Hunters. The first episode's like 2 hours long, so I only got through that one. But it's pretty good. It's not like as like mind blowing as some of the dramas that I've seen on TV in the past couple of years. But it has some. It's got a lot of promise. There's some.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't hold back on like the violence at all.
Yeah.
Like the opening scene is actually incredible, and then like you get into the actual show after that, and it's really good. It's just I don't know. I have to watch more of it. I am very interested. By the end of the first episode, I was like, I can't wait to see more. It was just like we started watching it at night, and it's a 2-hour series premiere, so wasn't really prepared for that. But then obviously Tiger King documentary is fantastic so far.
It's funny, like just over the past like 3 days, I've heard nothing but like
Tiger King,
about the
yeah.
Tiger King.
Yeah.
So evidently I have to check this out.
Well,
'cause
I
haven't
think it's
seen it
because
yet.
like, and I maybe you guys had it differently or whatever, but I didn't even know that this was a thing that was being released or being made. I know that we'd covered Joe Exotic before on Weekly Weird News, but like I had no idea that this was coming out, and it just kind of dropped, and that's why I think people loved it so much, because everyone's got a lot of free time now, and it actually is a really like entertaining documentary. It's also very sad, especially in the beginning, where it's like, wow, people are fucking assholes. People are just like hoarding exotic animals. You can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you can.
In Florida, you can.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Devs on Hulu. Very good.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it could just as easily be one of those shows that takes you almost all the way there and then falls apart at the end.
I've heard really good things about Devs. I haven't seen it
But so
myself.
far, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've become big fans. Me and the wife have become big fans of 90 Day Fiance. It's the biggest piece of trash you'd ever see, but it's fucking amazing.
Have you guys watched Dark on Netflix?
The German show?
Yeah.
I keep hearing good stuff.
It's
about it.
really good. It's really good.
What's it about?
Time travel.
Oh, okay.
But like, it's really fucking well done time travel.
Yeah, it is. It's really well done.
I've been meaning to start Altered Carbon too. I haven't started that yet.
You know, Altered Carbon is a show that I watched the majority of season 1, and it's beautiful. Like it seems like they spent a shit ton of money on it, but good Lord, the dialogue in that show is like fucking horrendous. It is so melodramatic.
I'll push that one to the back of the list then.
It's got so much good, like I'll always go back to it while I'm doing something else, and I'll watch it on like my big screen.
Yeah.
And it looks great. It looks amazing. But it's like, holy shit, some of the writing in this show is just abysmal.
There's one show I haven't finished yet, but I am thoroughly enjoying it, is McMillions.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, yeah, I wanna check that out.
The whole show, basically, it's great. It weaves the story together really well, but like the whole show is completely anchored by the bonkers FBI agent, who was just like, he's like what every kid imagines they'd be like as an FBI agent when they're a kid, but he like carried it over into actually being an agent who because of this bonkers case was allowed the free reign to just do absurd ideas and sting operations. I would, HBO, if you're listening, just have this guy, like they should get this guy, this FBI agent, to be like a story consultant on like a scripted FBI show where they just come up with scenarios and he has to solve them, but he helps the writers like write what his plan would be the most amazing cop drama ever, because he's such a wacky character, like complete like antithesis of what you would assume an FBI agent would be like. He's the best part of the show.
Check that out.
Samuel, thank you for the super chat. He's saying thank you for the Michael Douglas pussy clip, which pops up every once in a while, and it is probably the hardest I've ever laughed in person.
That is literally the hardest I've ever laughed at anything in my life. Nothing will ever beat that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's sad because I know whenever we get together with you guys, I feel like that standard could never be met.
It'll
again.
never be reached.
Yeah.
There's no point in even trying.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Did you guys watch it's like old now, and I'm sad because I don't think they're gonna do the 3rd season, at least anytime soon. Mindhunters?
Oh yeah, I like it.
I watched season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet. I keep forgetting it came out.
It's really damn good, man. I am a huge fan of that show.
That's the one where they recreate like the serial killer interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I watched I didn't see the 1st season. I watched the 2nd season, the one with what is it, Son of Sam and Charles Manson.
Yes. And they got that dude that did Charles Manson. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was incredible. Have you seen the video on YouTube where they put it like side by side and how like dead on accurate it is?
Wow.
Because they used the actual recordings for the script. It's like 90% of what he says is direct from the conversations.
Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah, no,
really
he is
good.
And he looks exactly like him. And I think I know they
The
put
same
some
guy who
makeup
played
on.
him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I also watched again for the 2nd time, and it is, God, it's just so good.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
I also just got this huge time waster in the mail. I'm gonna grab a beer anyway, but I'll be right back when I grab this thing that I got. All right. Talk amongst yourselves.
Time for awkward silence while Ricky's not here. Let's just not talk while he's here.
That guy in Mindhunter season 1 who played Ed Kemper.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good.
Incredible job.
He is
Terrifying.
incredibly good. Yeah. Season 2, also the Son of Sam Berkowitz. Holy shit. Like
God.
that they because they gave him like a little bit of because he's a really odd looking fella.
Yeah.
And so I think they like dolled up his nose a little bit to look like him. Oh God, you're gonna make me sick right now.
This takes me back to my childhood when they did the inflatable theater thing, and it was a first-person roller coaster ride. I'd get nauseous.
Oh, Elliot's on a roller coaster. So I got this. One of our people that we used to work with when we did junkets works for a marketing company. So they were like, "Hey, you're in isolation. Here's something to keep you busy," and sent the entire Star Wars saga,
Whoa!
like all of the 9 movies. So there's like 3 watchable movies in here, but
Yeah.
it's like 4K Blu-ray.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is gonna be a lot to go through, and it
Should have
has,
sent it back and said, "Where's the Mandalorian? Damn it!"
Yeah.
I have my I ordered.
Be as ungrateful as possible.
I ordered the Child back in December, so I'm waiting for my child to get here.
Yeah, that's not coming.
The baby Yoda, probably not. It's going to be delayed.
Oh, is there a particular version that's like super high in demand?
I was one of the first ones that was released like for pre-order in December. It's like it's not like it's not the Sideshow collectible one. I think it was like $25. The Sideshow collectibles one's like $300.
Oof.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Oh, he's at the Mayor Pete dance.
Oh my God.
Gray Aria says the Expanse is fantastic. Thanks guys for streaming.
I've heard really good things about it. I watched like the first season of The Expanse, and I really liked it, but like it didn't like make me think, oh, I really have to get back to this now.
Came out like years ago, right?
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah,
I always heard nice things about it.
What I do is I whenever I forget that Shark Tank exists, I just like, luckily enough time will pass where I can I'll log back into Hulu and be like, oh wow, I have 4 episodes of Shark Tank to watch. What a wonderful day it is today. Because it's like the best show. It's like all those I love shows that you can just throw on in the background and kind of like, you know, have dinner or like fuck around in your phone and just have it on the background. And that one's great because
that was Storage Wars for Steve and I for a while.
Oh my God, Storage Wars was so good in its prime.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the best.
Once everyone realized they were famous, it became terrible. Just like Pawn Stars.
Yep. Yeah. I liked what was the crap version of Pawn Stars? It was
a hardcore pawn.
With less gold.
Yeah.
His name was Less Gold.
I was a transcriber for that show.
Are you serious?
Wait,
yeah,
that must have been amazing.
This was like 2011-ish. I had to go to this building in Burbank and just watch raw footage from a bunch of shows, including Hardcore Pawn.
Wait, Chum-Lee's in prison?
Yeah, he got in trouble for some shit. I don't know if he's still in prison. That was a while ago.
Probably tax evasion. Let's see here. Wait, so Elliot, I have a question. Oh wait, it was drugs. Sexual assault allegations and drugs.
Hold on, I hear my dad out here.
And
the
weapons.
PC police strike again.
Wait, was Hardcore Pawn, was that the one that was based in nice background? Was that the one that was
Detroit?
In Detroit.
Detroit, yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Our
Adam
friend,
Landau.
He knows the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff to say.
That one was quite good. Jonah Scott, $20. Whoa.
Hey.
Voice actor in NoHo here. Game and anime production have halted, so I'm stuck inside like you guys, streaming, cooking, and trying not to atrophy. Stay strong, boys. Huge fan. Watch Beastars on Netflix while you're holed up. I would assume that he is the Beastars voice actor, potentially.
Maybe
Beastars.
Beastars.
I don't know what that is.
Well, Jonah, you're my neighbor, so if I see you over at the arcade bar when we all get done with this, I'll buy you a round of Pac-Man. But no,
that
no
looks
going
cool.
to the bar. No going to the bar now. Elliot, where are you getting this? Is this from like Story Blocks or whatever?
Yeah, Storyblocks. We have a license, so I'm using it.
Okay. Robert Cox says Avenue 5 is really funny. Hugh Laurie, Josh Gad. I keep seeing ads for that on HBO, but it kind of just looks like that Seth MacFarlane space show. I don't know.
Oh, the Orville.
It didn't
well,
really
it's made
jump out to me.
It's made by the Veep people. But
Armando
yeah,
Iannucci?
but I'm not a huge fan of Josh Gad. So there's sort of I'm conflicted about
Josh Bad.
Josh Gad is Josh Bad.
I don't think he's I don't mind Josh Gad. He was okay in that Beauty and the Beast movie.
To me, he'll always be the unfunny Jonah Hill. Whenever I see him, I just think that they couldn't get Jonah Hill.
I guess so. But then if that was the case, then Josh Gad would be starring in the new Batman movie.
And Jonah Hill would be voicing Olaf.
Yes, exactly.
No, the idea is Jonah Hill's a step above him.
Oh, it's not a 1-for-1 trade.
No, it's not a trade. It's like
gotcha.
he's trying to be no, the idea is then like in 5 years Josh Gad will direct a movie about like the early 90s or like
But
the late 90s.
At this point, like, I mean, you get all your early, and you get all your raunchy stuff out of the way in your 20s and 30s, and then you start starring in Disney films in your 40s and 50s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're like Tim Allen, you like start selling drugs in your 20s.
Yeah.
And then you go to prison.
And then
you're out. And then in your 30s, you become like a stand-up comedian. And then in your 40s, you're set.
I'm really excited for the Home Improvement reboot with Little Xan.
Wait, what? There's a Home Improvement. What?
No. You see, it's a joke because he's the guy that ratted out on everyone in the prison in New York.
Oh, he's that one.
And Tim Allen
I thought it was
ratted out his buddies and.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I know about. Yeah.
This is like getting booed at an open mic night, guys. You've really hurt my confidence.
If you have to explain the joke, it's not a joke. You suck.
Boo!
Boo! Tomatoes thrown at you.
We need those tomatoes. Don't throw them.
Because when you say reboot, like they reboot every fucking thing these days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Becky Samuels in chat, who got the joke.
Good job, Becky.
Let's see.
We're too fucking old for jokes.
Yeah, we're too old for that.
Steven Larson, what is your favorite video you've ever worked on? That's from Stan in the supporter chat on Discord. Oh, sorry, everyone got it. Okay, I was wrong. It was Tekashi69. I've got my mumble drug rappers messed up. Little Xan is the dead one, I believe.
Little Xan's dead.
Is he? I think he is the dead one. So sorry, that's Tekashi69. I have boomered myself into oblivion.
Yeah.
The favorite. I don't know, man. I'd say like honestly. So okay.
Is Little Xan dead?
I know this is. It's Little Xan dead. I know that like this is a cheat answer probably but like when we hung out.
He's not dead. Sorry, everyone. He's not dead.
Nah, he's dead. He will be.
Lil Xan's the one that did the song with FaZe Banks, I think.
Okay.
Because you're too plugged in, man.
Good shit, man. That was dope.
Great shit. That was dope.
Oh, I'm gonna slink back in my chair. Talk about your favorite thing you've worked on.
It's honestly like I don't know, like so. There's two things. There are videos that I'm proud of the final product, and there's videos that I had a really good time working on. And I can't think of a video I had more fun working on than the summer movie preview with you guys.
Yeah, that was damn fun.
Because it was like we had been laid off. I think we were just there to like, I don't know. I think maybe we were there to turn in your computer, Larson, weren't we? Or something like that? Or did they bring us down for the Inside Gaming like
Fuck
thing?
if I know. I don't know, man. I know we did make the trip down because I didn't want to pay. Well, it was Kovic's birthday.
Yeah.
The following week, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we're going to go down for that. I don't want to spend however many dollars it's going to take to mail this fucking tower back to him.
Yeah.
So we'll just go and drop that off. That won't be awkward at all. And we'll go to Kovic's party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if we did the summer movie preview then, if that was another time we were there. Because we were there that one time when they brought Nana back.
Whenever Ant-Man was coming out.
I guess whatever year that was. What year did Ant-Man come out?
Let me check.
Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's gotta be.
That would have been 2015. That might have been.
2015, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it could have been when for that then. It could have
But I don't know. We did like a couple like 10 for the win sort of short film type things.
Yeah.
Like we did like an E3 like documentary like on the road to E3 thing that I was really happy with how that turned out. So it was probably one of those. Anytime we got to actually go out and like, you know, exercise our filmmaking muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Slade dropping 40 bones. Oh my God, is that
Oh,
Steven
damn.
Larson from back in the day? Also, money for a beer for each of you. But since we're on the topic of this particular person being like, wow, it's Steven Larson. Before we forget, where can people find you right now?
Well, if you're not into wrestling, you're not going to care. It doesn't matter. If you have any interest whatsoever in WWE, New Japan, AEW, anything wrestling related,
AAA,
we have a podcast. We have a channel called Going in Raw where we do a podcast. We actually brought back. We trademarked the 10 for the win. And so we brought that back as like a wrestling top 10 thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a new thing. And then I took the old logo and I made shirts out of them. So you could buy that. If you're a fan of the old 10 for the win stuff, you can just buy shirts now at friendomerch.com.
There you go.
So yeah,
I'm
we're totally
your Twitter and your YouTube channel in the chat.
Perfect.
Right now.
Thank you.
There we go.
yeah. So yeah, if you're into wrestling, then come check us out.
Yeah, we got something going up every day.
Yeah. Because it's YouTube and you have to do that, otherwise you're gonna go broke and die.
The algorithm.
Yeah,
The algorithm. You gotta satiate the algorithm.
We're all slaves to the algorithm.
Let me see if I got any more questions here in the thing. I'm gonna assume that no one here has played Half-Life Alyx.
No, I do not have a VR thing.
I don't play video games anymore. Once I got laid off, I stopped playing video games.
Out of spite.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like exclusively a VR thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
So I don't know. Have you guys commented on Animal Crossing? Someone's asking me to explain Animal Crossing to you.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay.
See, that sounded like a courtroom testimony right there.
I
don't know anything about it.
How can we?
I don't recall.
Don't
when we
ask
were
me a
talking
damn
about-
thing.
When we were talking about TV shows, how can we forget Succession? It's like
Oh,
the
yeah,
best,
Oh, I
Succession's
love
great.
Succession.
That show is so good.
best show
I've
ever.
been meaning to watch it. I've been meaning to watch
Holy shit,
Oh, it's
Ricky,
so
you'll
good.
love it.
It's so good.
it. All right.
It's a weird show because it's like 90% depressing
short thing for
and
this,
enraging and 10% funny, and somehow that balances perfectly.
I was
Like
telling Steve
nobody is likable in that show, and yet it works perfectly.
because I was telling Steve I can't think of any show I've ever watched where I'm sitting there watching it and I'm yelling at the characters not to do something.
Yeah,
Like there's
they're
one
all
episode in particular. I'm
terrible
like,
people.
don't do that. Whatever you're doing, don't do it. I never do that. I
Yeah.
never get that invested in a show.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, the guy who created Succession is the guy who created Peep Show, the
Oh, okay.
British
I love
sitcom?
Peep Show.
with Mitchell and Webb. It was on for like
I have
15
not
years.
even heard of that.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
Very good show. It's extremely funny. Like I was shocked that it's the same guy who made it because it's just could not be more different.
Huh.
But
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
if you've seen Mitchell and Webb Look, it's those guys, but it's a sitcom done in first person.
yeah,
Okay.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
God
it's
damn,
good.
it ran for a long time.
Yeah, it's really really good. You should check it out.
All right, I'll
It's
definitely check
it's
that
got
out.
to be on like Hulu or something at this point.
Yeah, it's in a lot of places. It's on it's on Prime. Looks like you can stream it on Prime.
Boom, there you go.
Cool, cool.
Now you got something to watch.
Yeah, internet.
Vidmontes left something. Thank you for the super chat, Jojen. Share your most embarrassing story. It's always hard to pull those out of nowhere without preparing.
I
for it.
actively try to suppress them from my memories.
Yeah, you'll have to ask
Pull out.
me if you want to know my embarrassing stories. You'll have to ask me at 12:30 at night when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of need to buy me a beer if you want some of my most embarrassing stories.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to go to sleep and I get like the douche chills and the douche shivers from like remembering something I did when I was 19, then that's the only time I really remember it.
You know what? I'll give this one, Larson. This is an appropriate. We can tell this story. So we were sent out. We used to have a decent relationship with 2K Games, and they sent us out for like the release party for one of the WWE games 3 years ago, I
I
guess.
think it was it 17? 2K17?
I think it was something like that.
Yeah, it was because it was SummerSlam 2016. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
2016, we went out to SummerSlam. It was in New York, and we got to interview some of the superstars of the WWE. Like you guys did a lot of interviewing. We were never good. I hated interviewing with a passion. But you know, we're big boys, so we put our big boy pants on, and we did. They had like a cheesy little like red carpet setup thing.
Yeah.
And so we found like room. We set up our camera. We just sort of waited, and we were trying to like, you know, it was like a bartender. It was like trying to like get a bartender in a busy bar, trying to get their handlers. So like what we were able to, we got like a couple interviews, and like, you know, I think we did the Miz first, and he was great. He was very like, you know, put you at ease. And then like we had Charlotte Flair. And for whatever reason, and the funny thing is like, given like you know, what she's done in the business and like who her dad is, you would think that you would have any number of questions, of icebreakers. I fucking froze. Oh, there's the game. I fucking froze so bad. And then I turned to Larson, like she's standing there. We have her. I turned to Larson and I said, do you have any questions? And he just said, no.
No, I said, I can't think of anything. We both just froze up.
And then she very graciously, she said, because she was like a bad guy at the time. She's a heel. She's like, guys, I'm not anything like my character. And that really put us at ease. And then we just sort of started shooting the shit. She was so cool. She was so nice.
Yeah.
It's like the Bruce Green question at E3.
Yes, it was exactly like
going
that.
Around for years.
Oh, that's still one of my favorite things ever.
I think,
oh God.
On that end, I had to do. I was hosting I was there for a junket, but they were like, "Hey, would you be down to host this Facebook Live Q&A with it was Will Arnett and the Medea guy,
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. Yeah, and so when I got there to do it, they were both sitting on the couch, and I'm sitting there, and like the person that was running like the Facebook Q&A thing, like they like didn't have reception. They had to find the Wi-Fi code, so there's just like 15 minutes of like these guys just sitting there, and I'm just like trying my best to like be funny, but also feeling extremely awkward because I'm sitting across from like two like huge actors who very clearly know each other very well because they just worked on this movie together. But I'm just like trying to crack jokes and like have a good time, and they're just having none of it. And I'm just like, all I want to do is leave this room as soon as humanly possible. And the Q&A went fine because shit. Like, you know, they turn on for the Q&A. It was just like, oh no, oh geez, I'm trying to break the ice here and it's just not working.
That sucks. That's the worst. Goddamn. Yeah. I hate interviewing people with a passion.
I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah. So this year, for whatever reason, I don't know why, our relationship seemingly with 2K came to an end.
Yeah.
We never heard from them that they were going to do another interview thing. We saw other YouTubers go out and do interviews with them, so I know they had a thing. And it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Like maybe they just think, you know, these guys aren't really doing gaming stuff. And you know, there seems to be a line that the WWE in particular won't cross with, like, they call them dirt sheets, which is like a term for people who try to dig up the inside scoop, the behind the scenes stuff that the WWE doesn't want getting out there.
Yeah.
So like reasons why wrestlers won matches or lost matches, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, maybe we crossed them too much into that territory and they sort of realize that. And so that's we're not. Or maybe I just fucked up the last round of interviews last year. Yeah. It could have been that too.
Don't ever get those guys back in here.
It could be, because there was some comedy moments from last year that I'm not hugely proud of. But
those
for whatever
were
reason,
bits. Jesus, they were bits.
And I was kind of relieved this year when they didn't bring us back out. I was kind of secretly hoping, like, I don't really want to do this. It'd be really good for us, like in terms like business wise, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't want to do it because I just don't like being in those situations. Sure enough, they didn't send us out, so it was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to ask anybody anything.
And then the game wasn't good either. So
yeah, the game is
it's terrible.
The worst they've ever put out.
Oh, it's terrible. It's awful.
The glitches are very funny though.
Oh, they're hilarious. Yeah, I enjoy that stuff, but like they literally tried to suck the fun out of the gameplay too.
Yeah, they did.
Elliot and fucking Larson just like switched sides somehow.
I think Larson dropped out for like a second.
Yeah, my camera froze, so I had to restart.
His camera froze, so then Elliot took the lead for quality camera stuff.
We were actually pretty stoked when we didn't have to do junkets anymore. To be honest.
I would imagine so. Yeah, it's a great feeling. Like
I your careers. The travel. I did not miss the travel at first, and now I'm kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I'd probably go to New York every once in a while. That'd be fun.
I always enjoyed that stuff. Because we did the same thing. Like we got to go to New York. We found time in the day to kick around. I always enjoy the travel. It's fun, but I hate doing that stuff.
Yeah, the interviews are always nerve-wracking. Well, like that one in 2016 where we froze up for the Charlotte. Part of the problem with that is we didn't know who was going to be there. We had no time to prepare anything.
There was zero prep. Yeah.
So we walk in the door and here's a list of who's going to be here, and we're like, all right, and we don't know who we're going to get exactly because it was a red carpet. But rather than having people walk down the red carpet, they were having wrestlers just camp at spots and making people move around to interview them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and there's always this like protocol too of like, especially when you're doing a junket, it's like unless it's like predetermined that you're going to be doing something goofy, there's like first of all, there's 10 people in the room watching your every move. They have the actors' reps just off camera. They have your reps where they're standing over your shoulder being like, you better just ask the same 10 questions that everyone else is asking or else you'll never be invited back. Don't ask about any, like you'd interview like, I don't know, like, say you were going to interview Robert Downey Jr., but it's a Robert Downey Jr. movie that has nothing to do with Marvel.
Marvel stuff, yeah.
But Avengers is going to come out in like 4 months, and that's what people actually care to hear about. But they're like, the first thing, like right when you get to the door, hey, by the way, no questions about Avengers.
Yeah.
So it's like,
then why am I fucking here? Then what is the point here?
Because they want your audience. They want your audience to hear the same 10 answers that the local Fox station in Phoenix gets to hear on the morning news.
Yeah.
My experience with junkets was always like, if it was a movie that I liked, it was a great time.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it was just whatever trash they were handing me. And if they were movies I didn't like, it was terrifying to me because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about with these people. Yeah. They're gonna know just based off of my face and how I'm acting that I don't care about this at all.
Hey, Larson.
You know the story, don't you?
I know, it's great.
So my first job out of college was working for this little entertainment news studio in Burbank. And so I was hired on to be production assistant for another show, but the entertainment news division came over and kind of swooped me. And so what they would do was send me out on a couple junkets, the ones no one else wanted to do pretty much. One of them was Corky Romano. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
And so in the course of an afternoon, I got to talk to Chris Penn, Peter Falk, who was amazing. Peter Falk was amazing. He was such a sweetheart.
Love Peter Falk.
And then, of course, Chris Kattan. So I'm it is the same thing. Like I'm asking the same question I'm sure everybody else is. And then afterwards, I'm getting up, and he was really nice. And he was like, "Hey, what'd you think of the movie?" And I don't know if any of you have seen Corky Romano. It's not good.
One of the worst movies of all time.
And so I'm like, "Oh, it was all right." And I was like, "Oh, it was fine." And then he looks at me like this. Thanks. Felt bad for the guy.
He had to know.
Oh yeah, he knew.
Elliot, I loved your interview with The Rock.
Yeah, see, that was a fun one. Like it was a real mixed bag. Like I don't really miss it, but I have a lot of fond memories. The Rock was the first solo junket I ever did. He's an amazing person. I don't know how he has as much energy as he does, because like most of these guys, you know, they're doing 8 hours of junkets, and the little podunk digital YouTube channels, they get the end of the day. I mean, there were a few cases where like actors I was supposed to interview, it just didn't happen.
They're like, I'm going back to the hotel. Screw this.
Yeah, they're like, they got tired. They're done for the day. But so like The Rock, I mean, I think I got him like towards the end of the day. I went like after fucking Smosh, and like they knew what they were doing, like, and so I was just like, fuck, this sucks. But yeah, he was super fun. He was totally into it.
There's plenty of like, I have great memories of certain actors, but a lot of it was just kind of whatever. But those really good ones, you know, they do stand out. Mike Shinoda was great, and we had him on the podcast afterwards. Which was awesome. Like a year later. It's always great when the actor is great and willing to have fun.
You know what? My favorite one actually was probably Denis Villeneuve for Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd have been great.
And it wasn't even like, I don't even think it was a particularly interesting interview. It was just like cool to be talking to this guy who I consider to be like a complete fucking genius. Yeah. And like, and it seemed like he was happy because I had like really specific questions for him, and he seemed like stoked to actually be talking like technical stuff instead of just general.
Oh, I'd imagine so.
Super nice guy too.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, speaking of having the old podcast that we used to have with access to people like that, anytime any actor would come in for the podcast in person was incredible. Because instead of getting 5 minutes in a hotel room, we got to have an hour where you can actually have a conversation instead of like marking off
I love the one you did with Oscar Isaacs. That was so good.
Oh my God, he was
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, he was. That was like right. He had just gotten cast in Star Wars. Star Wars wasn't even out yet.
But it was still like he was there doing the press for Ex Machina, which was an incredible movie.
Oh, fantastic movie.
Yeah. What's his name? Fucking, I'm drawing a blank. The kid from Lord of the Rings. Fantastic. He was
Elijah
so much fun.
Wood.
Elijah Wood was a blast.
Yeah.
And such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Charlton Copley twice.
Charlton Copley is probably one of the coolest, that we've ever interviewed.
Yeah,
he stayed and hung out with us for like an hour afterwards.
Oh, that's cool.
He left and then came back 5 minutes later. He's like, my driver's not here. Hey, what? So I used to work in video production. Show me around the studio. So he like gave him like a tour, and he like kind of knew his stuff. And he's like, man, I came up at the wrong time. Like back in the '80s, it was you had to go through this horrible TV studio system. Now you guys, you can just shoot it in here.
That's pretty cool.
I'm very impressed.
At what point did you guys sort of was it when you left Machinima that you decided to go the route that you've taken at this point?
We lost pretty much like 90% of access just because it's all through PR, and they to get on something like that, they want those big names. Like even if it's a digital outlet, like there connections that were made that we didn't make in the first place. We've kept
we
in
could have
contact
probably
with a couple
followed
of them,
up on them and been like active about emailing like PR reps, but we just didn't because I'm like,
it's really not that big of a deal because it's like it really doesn't mesh with the content that we do now anyway. But, I mean, we got to do the Zombieland thing that came through an old contact.
That was fun.
We still have contacts with like Universal. We're really good friends with the Universal people. It's something we'd like to do in the future. It just has to work with what we're doing now, which is kind of different. Oh God, we've lost him.
I'm back.
He's back.
I can hear the kids getting restless, so we can we'll end the stream here in a second.
It's been really cool, like seeing how our careers have sort of paralleled each other because it's like seemingly we've gone through very much the same thing, and like we've been able to pivot because it's obvious that the stuff that you guys are doing now is something that you like legitimately are interested in doing, and it's reflected by your success because like you found this audience that it's like if they want their news, they will come and get it filtered through you guys, and they have that trust in you. And it's like obviously what we talk about is a lot less consequential than what you guys talk about, but it's like still we have like a passionate fan base the same way you guys have a passionate fan base, but it came from something that like we were never really into video games, but we sort of got our first, amount of success because of them, and we're able to pivot into something that we were really into. And you guys have basically done the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, we've been very blessed that the lovely audience has followed us, and that we've been able to pivot into something that we enjoy doing and creating content that we ourselves control instead of going into an office and spending 50% of our days dealing with corporate bureaucracy instead of making videos. So
a lot of great careers were planted at that terrible company.
And luckily, everyone that is actually passionate about what they do seems to have been very successful when they left.
I know, it's really cool. There was like just a shit ton of talent at that place, and it's sort of proven out that way,
And it was just squandered by the corporation behind it.
Seriously, the amount of talent that place had, and the fact that they just pissed it all away. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was, you hate to see it, but also it planted the seeds for success in ways that we would have never seen coming. So
Absolutely.
Like imagine right now.
We need to do this a lot more often though.
Yeah. But like a perfect example would be right now. Like if me and Elliot were still if Machinima existed and we were still at Machinima doing ETC, we wouldn't have shows going up right now because the office is closed because of coronavirus.
That's true. We'd probably be fired.
Yeah, they'd probably just let us go because of it. So, all right, I'll let you guys get back to your families.
All right, I gotta go pick up my little one too, and I got my dog just bugging me right here. What do you want?
Yeah.
Go away. All right. Anyways, the stream's gonna end if you like it or not. So, hey, we got to do this again. We'll have to come down to LA when all this craziness ends.
Yeah, please come down. Please come down and join us. We would love to have you. And
For now, though, you're up in the north and stay indoors.
Stay indoors.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Stay inside, everyone.
It's an anxiety attack just to go to the grocery store for me, so I'm totally fine staying indoors.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, guys, and everyone watching. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for the super chats and all that.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
I'll link their channel again in the chat and their Twitter account again in the chat. I'll do your official ones, and then if people will find your personal ones.
Yeah, it's easy to find.
We linked all the personal ones on our tweets about the stream, so go there. All right, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Everyone say thank you to Stephen Larson in the chat. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Wow, Ethan. Great moves. Keep it up. Proud of you.
My friends, we have a crisis on our hands. There's a virus ravaging the human population on this planet Earth. And no, I am not talking about K-pop stans. I'm talking about the coronavirus. There's a shortage of medical supplies. You can't find masks, gloves, thermometers. You can't even find rectal thermometers. The fact that people are on Amazon buying up rectal thermometers really should tell you just how bad it has gotten here. Can I get a whale in the comments for people whose mom put a thermometer in their butt to take their temperature, or a rectal thermometer? So let me start by arming you with the most important medical supply of all. Knowledge. 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 Here are some ideas on how to protect yourself in the absence of medical supplies. Let me just make a quick disclaimer. These are horrible ideas and will not protect you. So one idea here is to cut the bottom off a big bottle of water and just place that right over your head, like a dollar store juggernaut from the X-Men. Nothing says I love you more than putting a giant garbage bag over your child and the stroller itself. Ela, where did you come from? And if you absolutely have to smoke, this is the way to do it. You know, if the virus doesn't get you, then the tar, the smoke, the stinky ass spit. Boy, I dare you to take a sniff inside that mask. This is what the apocalypse looks like, my dude. Instead of currency, we are using masks. Masks are confirmed the currency of the future. There's really nothing wrong with this approach. And it looks good. It's fashionable. Many people would say that it's very fashionable. It doesn't draw attention to yourself. I think it's a hit. Oh, this guy went all out. Dude, it's basically a full body condom. And I've been saying for a long time that we need those. What is that powder? I would like to know. A little keep it going in the midst of a crisis. Like this, you just throw it back. I'm ready. And the Nobel Peace Prize goes to this fine gentleman who strapped a brassiere to his face. I do that even for free on my spare time. When Ela goes out of the house, I didn't even realize, but I've been preparing for the coronavirus pretty much my whole life. Okay, well, clearly some of those were not the best idea. Here's a tweet from Jana, not Jenna, Jana. Downtown Nashville is undefeated. Let's see what they're up to. I think this is the night after the president declared a national emergency. Nashville, undefeated, baby. This is America. And we have a God-given right to give Corona to our grandma. And even if that old bitch dies, I'll have at least had a good night because Nashville is undefeated. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ethan. take off their cowboy hat. Woo! All right, that's Tennessee, but let's have a look down in Florida during spring break and see how responsible these people are being.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
It may stop your nan and your parents from living.
No, I've been waiting. We've been waiting for Miami spring break for a while. About 2 months we've had this trip planned. 2-3 months. So we're just out here having a good time. Whatever happens, happens.
Like, it's really messing up with my spring break. What is there to do here other than go to the bars or the beach? I think they're blowing it way out of proportion. I think it's doing way too much.
Doing us bad. We need a refund. This virus ain't that serious. It's serious. It's more serious things out there like hunger and poverty, and we need to address that.
Well, do we address that before or after all the poor and hungry people die of coronavirus?
We're just making the most of it. We met these other people in our little Airbnb spot, so we're just hanging out with them and trying to get drunk before everything closes.
As JFK famously said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, unless it's spring break.
It sucks, but we're going to make the best of it. We're enjoying ourselves.
All right, well, let's see what's going on in good old sophisticated Europe, shall we?
The coronavirus. The coronavirus. The coronavirus.
Frick the coronavirus. Frick the coronavirus. Party! Casey Tron is a Twitch streamer whose comment got her permanently banned forever from Twitch. What did she say?
If he had the coronavirus, would you kiss him?
Yes, and we would leave quarantine and we would try to spread it as much as possible, because the world would be a better place without.
Oh my God, Casey!
I would say that she was joking, but if you look closely at her face, she does not crack a smile. This woman is ready for corona genocide. What are the kids calling it? The boomer doomer? The boomer groomer? The boomer remover. Yes, the boomer remover. I'm getting dangerously close to being a boomer here myself, so hopefully it just targets boomers in age and not in mentality, because I may be at risk. Disney star from High School Musical Vanessa Hudgens has this very sensitive comment to say about coronavirus, and frankly, very insightful as well.
Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. But, like, it's a virus. I get it. Like, I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible. But, like, inevitable? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now.
Is anyone else shocked by how callous people are towards old people and people with immune deficiencies? Like, these kids just don't care. They're like, yeah, but it only affects old people. Like, how callous are we as a society that we don't care if old people are just dropping dead? Like, that's all good. And of course, this wouldn't be America without a story of soul-crushing, greedy capitalism, baby. And introduce us to this gentleman here who went between 2 state lines on a mad spree to buy up all the hand sanitizer in both of the 2 states, buying 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer. Resold his bottles on Amazon at $70 a pop. Unfortunately for this young entrepreneur, Amazon removed his account entirely for price gouging, and now he is stuck with 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer.
Colvin bought the sanitizer with the intention of selling them for profit on Amazon before they took his listings down. Now, feeling the same panic as many others.
Oh crap is the PG way to say it.
Though he would not discuss on camera the exact prices he sold the sanitizer for, he told the New York Times in a recent interview that some items were listed at $70 a bottle.
The pricing on Amazon was definitely higher than retail.
Stating in a shirt that says "Family Man, Family Business," he says he never anticipated the struggle other families would go through because of a shortage.
Would you say you're sorry?
Sorry for purchasing, sorry for buying all of this product. No, I don't think that I would.
You know hand sanitizer is like the hardest flex right now. If you had a bathtub full, just dump hand sanitizer and be in it. That's like a rapper's dream right now, dude. A little wipe. A little sandy wipe.
Little sanitize on the mic. COVID, covert. Make that booty hole squirt. Clean it up with TP. You know that's why she likes me. I heard you got a Rolex, Rolls Royce. Boy, that's nice, but you can't even keep it clean without that OxyClean. Purell and hose. No money, no clothes. Only got rolls. I did twice. The first time, it's nice. The second time, with Santa wipes.
We need that.
I'll roll back up. You know all these rap videos are fake, Ela.
GameStop is refusing to close its doors despite being ordered by the government of California. They are claiming to be an essential business that is exempt. I honestly couldn't think of a better example of a non-essential business than GameStop.
Coffee that.
We've received reports of local authorities visiting stores in an attempt to enforce closure despite our classification. Store managers are instructed to give a letter to law enforcement agents who make inquiries. The document states, "Thank you for what you are doing to keep us all safe. If you have questions about our store's hours, operations, or policies, could you please call our corporate office?" Dude, you guys are making these basically serve officers with papers. I mean, these people are getting paid minimum wage and they're having to be like an attorney for the company. GameStop knows that if they're not open to trade a $5 store credit for a brand new Xbox that your angry grandma is bringing in because you didn't do your homework, then they're going to be going out of business. Disney World, the happiest place on earth, of course, is doing their part. This is in Disney World, Florida, the day after a national emergency was declared, and you can see that it is shoulder to shoulder fun, my dudes. Hey, bro. Hey, you enjoying Disneyland? Dude, the fireworks show's about to happen. Our politicians understand the gravity of the situation. Surely they're being as responsible as possible.
Thank you.
And he's probably fine. What is everyone worrying about? Ooh, he's in quarantine, actually. Matt Gaetz poking a little fun at the hysteria.
Congressman Gaetz, man, I see you just left the floor, man, on coronavirus. Are you taking this vote too seriously wearing a mask right now?
It's pretty funny, obviously. Oh, shit. He's in quarantine also. Oh. Rudy Gobert having a little fun in the post-game interview. You know, everybody's blowing this way out of proportion. He tested positive right after this press conference. This whole team is now quarantined? All right, well, listen. I don't want to leave you guys in despair. I know that there's no tests available. We're out of medical supplies. If you think you caught it, what do we do? Well, fortunately, there's still an answer. There's still a solution.
Put your hand on that television set.
Yes, Lord.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. And by his stripes I am healed now. I'm not the sick trying to get healed. I'm the healed and the devil's trying to give me the flu.
That's right.
Or whatever else kind of thing he's trying.
Yeah.
Healed and well.
Yes.
In the sweet name of Jesus.
Glory to God.
Yeah. Amen.
Now, after he healed everybody, Kenneth Copeland went on to tell people that just because you're afraid of coronavirus doesn't mean you have to stop paying me.
Fear of this coronavirus is faith in its ability to hurt you or kill you. The fear of what are we going to do? I'm getting laid off at work. Hey, your job's not your source. If it is, you're in trouble. Jesus is your source. Whatever you do right now, don't you stop tithing. Don't you stop sowing offerings. Well, they won't let us go to church. Well, email it in there, text give or something, but you get your tithe in that church. If you have to go take it down there and drop it off and stick it under the door or something, get that tithe in that church, you get that offering in that church, and then you go home and you do what we're supposed to do.
Amen, brother. But tell me, Kenneth, since you're such a genius, what exactly is 10% of zero? Don't you stop buying Teddy Fresh. Don't you stop. Even though you got no income, even if you got them food stamps, you better trade those on eBay. Don't you dare stop buying Teddy Fresh. That's such a great racket, isn't it? He doesn't even pay tax. It's the best racket ever, dude. Now, this next guy, Jim Baker, he's a legend. He's actually already been to prison for scamming, and he came out, and people are just like, dude, this guy, he's all about Jesus. Sign me back up. Here he is selling Silver Solution, which he claims, of course, not only kills the coronavirus, but it pretty much will bring your dead nan back to life as well.
This influenza that is now circling the globe, you're saying that Silver Solution would be effective.
Well, let's say it hasn't been tested on this strain of the coronavirus, but it's been tested on other strains of the coronavirus and has been able to eliminate it within 12 hours.
Yeah.
We are dealing with an unprecedented crisis on our hands. And what's crazy about this is that when catastrophes like this happen, it's usually this community or this country that's affected. But this time, it's the whole world. I hope that through this tragedy, there will at least be a silver lining of us all coming together to stop handshaking once and for all. It's so easy for us all to walk around and act like we aren't so intimately interconnected. But one dude eats a bat in China and I can't leave my house. Stay safe, stay inside, do not shake hands, do not breathe. We're gonna get through this. In the words of the great Cardi B, let me end it on what she said.
Coronavirus! Coronavirus! I'm telling you, it's real! It's getting real!
Is it me, or did we go from...
We'll go away, just stay calm. I am officially declaring a national emergency. We can't have the cure be worse than the problem.
Really, really quick. And it feels like yesterday there was a dramatic, coordinated shift in the messaging around this. For example, I was watching Fox News last night because I like to take in all sources, and I saw Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas say this.
And you know, Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children.
Okay, first things first, Dan. Don't do that thing where you say, this doesn't make me noble or brave or a hero. That's what you you do when you want to be associated with words like that while acting like, oh, you know, it's not about that. I'm above labels like that. That's like if in this video I was like, you know, me doing this bit in the beginning to point out how crazy things have gotten, it doesn't make me a hero or a voice of a generation. It doesn't mean that I have a big dick and I know how to throw it down and people should call me Big Daddy Dick Phil. That's not what this is about. So enough of that nonsense, Dan, but also just the general idea of what you're saying. If you were only risking your own life, great. But the problem is we're living in a moment where people need to act responsibly themselves to protect others. I'm not worried about Dan dying. I'm worried about my immunocompromised father who's going to be 60 relatively soon. I'm also worried about others who get hospitalized and die from this, who do not share your kind of thinking. And I'm worried about people that might die from things that are not COVID-19 because our healthcare system is going to be completely overwhelmed and a number of people will not be able to get help. And it's wild to me that this kind of thinking, this kind of messaging is being sent out within the same 24 hours where you have the U.S. Surgeon General, right, Jerome Adams, saying,
I want America to understand this week it's going to get bad. I think that there are a lot of people who are doing the right things, but I think that unfortunately we're finding out a lot of people think this can't happen to them.
And it's why we also had Tom Inglesby, director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, saying on Twitter, anyone advising the end of social distancing now needs to fully understand what the country will look like if we do that. COVID would spread widely, rapidly, terribly, could kill potentially millions in the year ahead with huge social and economic impact across the country. And while you had Scott Gottlieb, former FDA commissioner, saying there's a strong and understandable desire to return to better times and a functioning economy. But it should not be lost on anyone that there's no such thing as a functioning economy in society so long as COVID-19 continues to spread uncontrolled in our biggest cities. The only way to return to a stable economy and restore our liberty is to end epidemic spread of COVID-19. We need a massive effort to offset the hardship of these efforts and the public health costs they impose, as there are more than economic costs to the measures we're taking. But there's no functioning healthcare with hospitals overwhelmed, no return to work with people terrified of a virus raging uncontrolled. There are two ways to end this. Let a vast swath of people catch COVID, which is unthinkable, or break the epidemic. We must choose the latter. Right, so you have experts saying things like this, and then you have Trump during these daily briefings, which, by the way, every time like a Dr. Fauci or someone's not speaking, it has genuinely begun to feel like Trump propaganda hour, during which he even acknowledges that doctors want him to keep it shut down.
Don't forget the doctors. If it were up to the doctors, they may say, let's keep it shut down. Let's shut down the entire world.
He's also gone back to minimizing the full potential impact of COVID-19.
You know, and again, I say we have a very active flu season, more active than most. It's looking like it's heading to 50,000 or more deaths. You look at automobile accidents, which are far greater than any numbers we're talking about. That doesn't mean we're going to tell everybody no more driving of cars. So we have to do things to get our country open.
And a few things there. One, we know the number of cases in this country is artificially low due to the lack of testing we've seen. And also, two, it seems that this president doesn't understand the rate at which this is accelerating. We've seen it in Italy, and I mean, even just to use the United States thus far. I mean, how recently was this president minimizing the potential risks, talking about it's just 15 cases, you know, it'll go down to 0 soon. And just yesterday in the United States, it was reported that over 100 people died from this. At a time where you have the governor of New York saying the number of COVID-19 cases is expected to double every 3 days. Right, and here's the thing, there is a point in time where it does make sense to talk about scaling back restrictions. But when we look out there, the countries that are scaling back restrictions right now are doing so because they've reported consistent decreases in numbers. But the United States is reporting increases, and the broad consensus among doctors and health experts is we have not yet hit our peak. But despite that, as I was recording today, we saw Trump go on Fox News and say that he wanted to have the country up and running by the Easter holiday. Right, April 12th, just 19 days away, which most experts say is way too early. And so as far as what's going to happen next year, we're going to have to wait and see. Also, as far as politicians are concerned, it's going to be interesting to see how many people start echoing this notion that everyone should go back to work. You know, politicians, they say things in the moment, and then later you're like, but you said the exact opposite thing. And so in moments like this, we look to people like Lindsey Graham. Right before Trump was elected president, he said, you know, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. But now he's become one of Trump's biggest allies. And recently we saw Lindsey Graham tweet, there is no functioning economy unless we control the virus. Try running an economy with major hospitals overflowing, doctors and nurses forced to stop treating some because they can't help all, and every moment of gut-wrenching medical chaos being played out in our living rooms, on TV, on social media, and shown all around the world. Right, so with legislators like this, do we see a pivot, oh, actually, you know what, now I see the light sort of moment from a Lindsey Graham. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. And wow, I really got ahead of myself. It's Tuesday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Hit that like button. I'd say, let's just jump into it, but it appears that we already have. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by Keeps. And something you might not already know, 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time that they're 35. You look around, we all have that one brother, that uncle, that friend. And hey, if you don't want that for yourself, you don't have to just sit idly by. Keeps helps you stop hair loss before it's too late with their scientific and affordable approach. Their treatments are up to 90% effective at reducing and stopping further hair loss, and they say that prevention is key. And you also don't have to go broke to avoid going bald. Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products that are out there. So in fact, some of you may have already tried them before, but probably never for this price. Which, on that note, for a limited time, you beautiful bastards can get your order for 50% off. And so, if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/DeFranco, or just click that link in the description down below to receive 50% off your first order. And the first bit of awesome, just some entertainment recommendations, since I know we're all consuming a lot more right now. Burt Kreischer last week, Tom Segura this week have new comedy specials on Netflix. They could all use laughs or something more serious and weird. You got the Tiger King docuseries on Netflix. Also, I'm like maybe a week away from starting Warzone live streams. I made a puzzle with my wife yesterday, which was actually genuinely fun, but man, I don't think I've made a puzzle since before dial-up internet existed. Then we had Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick playing Sorry Not Sorry. Gus Johnson gave us Mousetrap Blackjack. Binging with Babish gave us The Cold Cure from Keenan and Kel. Frisbee Feast gave us The Quest for the Ultimate Burrito with Blake Anderson. And the final bit of awesome is if you want something lighter today, I posted 2 brand new bonus clips on my Clips channel. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then, of course, as we've been doing every day, let's talk about top-level world updates around the coronavirus. Regarding the numbers internationally, as of 3 p.m. Eastern Time worldwide, there were 409,014 cases, 18,246 total deaths. And in the United States, 50,206 confirmed cases, 600 deaths at least. As far as what we're seeing internationally, we saw India's Prime Minister Modi today announce the entire country will be locked down for 3 weeks, and this beginning at midnight. This coming just a night after UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson ordered a nationwide lockdown. We've also seen the International Olympic Committee agree to postpone the Tokyo Summer Olympics until 2021. Egypt is now under a 2-week curfew between 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then let's talk about chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which is in the news for a number of reasons. Those drugs, if you don't recall, have been touted by President Trump as a potential treatment for COVID-19.
Now, this is a common malaria drug. It's also a drug used for strong arthritis, and it's been around for a long time, and it's very powerful. But the nice part is it's been around for a long time, so we know that if things don't go as planned, it's not going to kill anybody.
So Trump talked about that last week. Since then, there's been a lot of buzz about these drugs, a lot of excitement, a lot of hope. And this continued over the weekend with Trump propping up those drugs, writing, hopefully they will be put in use immediately. People are dying, move fast, and God bless everyone. Then yesterday saying,
pleased to report that clinical trials in New York will begin existing for existing drugs that may prove effective against the virus. At my direction, the federal government is working to help obtain large quantities of chloroquine, and you can look from any standpoint tomorrow in New York. We think tomorrow pretty early, the hydroxychloroquine and the Z-Pak, I think is a combination, probably is looking very, very good, and it's going to be distributed.
Reportedly, those trials began in New York today. And while yes, I think we all hope that these trials are successful, at the same time, health officials are warning people not to start jumping in on their own. And that's because while the drugs are approved by the FDA, they're not currently approved to treat COVID-19, right? Because like Trump said, these drugs are designed to treat malaria, rheumatoid arthritis, and also lupus. But there's also a lot of very real and very serious concern around the risks for COVID-19 patients. Because according to Megan May, a microbiologist at the University of New England College of Osteopathic Medicine, chloroquine is an extremely toxic drug with a terrible side effect profile. Hydrochloroquine is far safer, but its side effects are still significant. If it is not abundantly clear that it is beneficial, giving this drug to a critically ill patient feels risky. And that's because hydroxychloroquine can still cause things like heart rhythm problems, severely low blood pressure, muscle or nerve damage. But despite all the warnings from medical professionals, we're still seeing people rush to try to get their hands on these drugs. And because of that, we're seeing stories like this one. Tony Grimes has been taking hydroxychloroquine for 13 years for lupus and said Monday that for the first time, her standard 90-day refill order is being delayed until March 30th, with Grimes adding that another member of her lupus support group also hasn't received her refill. And, quote, a dentist just tried to call in scripts for hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin for himself, his wife, and another couple friends. I have patients with lupus that have been on hydroxychloroquine for years and now can't get it because it's on back order. And while that last one notably is an example of a doctor turning down people who don't need hydroxychloroquine, according to a University of Utah service that tracks shortages, some doctors right now are writing prescriptions for hydroxychloroquine for themselves and family friends to have on hand or hoard just in case. Right, essentially, this is a new avenue of panic buying. Also, this problem is so big that 4 of the 7 companies that make generic hydroxychloroquine are facing shortages. And if you're like, well, at least those other 3 companies haven't, they actually previously stopped making it altogether. But now because of these shortages, we're seeing a couple of noticeable changes. Regarding those self-prescribing doctors I mentioned a moment ago, the University of Utah said it's refusing to fill their prescription. Also, the Ohio Board of Pharmacy has banned hoarding of these drugs. So now there, a person can't get these drugs unless they have lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, or have a confirmed case of COVID-19. Also, an issue we've seen pop up are people self-medicating. While it's not in the United States, reportedly we saw 3 people in Nigeria all overdosing on the drug after self-medicating. So because of that, we saw Nigeria's Center for Disease Control saying, WHO has not approved the use of chloroquine for COVID-19 management. Scientists are working hard to confirm the safety of several drugs for this disease. Please do not engage in self-medication. This will cause harm and can lead to death. Also in the United States, you may have seen reports that an Arizona man died after ingesting chloroquine. However, I do want to note that that was not actually the medical form of chloroquine. Instead, what we ended up seeing was this man and his wife taking chloroquine that was actually supposed to be used to treat parasite infections for fish. So he died, the wife is still alive, but she's in critical condition. And as far as why they did this, why did they take this? In an interview with NBC, she said she and her husband took it after watching Trump talk about chloroquine, with that woman saying, I saw it sitting on the back shelf and thought, hey, isn't that the stuff they're talking about on TV? We were afraid of getting sick. And then, I guess, did no other research whatsoever and just used it. So there was that, but regarding the potential effectiveness of these drugs against COVID-19, while that has yet to be proven, we've seen a few studies lead the way in providing that evidence. First off, in lab tests, researchers have reported that hydroxychloroquine does impede the coronavirus's ability to enter cells. However, the big thing to note here is that doesn't mean that it would do the same thing in a person or that a person could tolerate the doses used in the lab. You also have 2 major clinical trials that have been capturing people's attention, including President Trump. The first is a report from China last month, which claims chloroquine helped more than 100 patients at 10 hospitals. And so because of that, it reportedly saw widespread use both there and in South Korea. However, with this trial, these patients all had various degrees of the illness and were all treated with different doses for different amounts of time. It also, very notably, did not contain any control groups, which means that it's possible that these people just recovered on their own without the drug. As far as the second study, it's from a clinical trial in France. There, doctors gave hydroxychloroquine to 26 people who had been infected with coronavirus. And of those 26 people, 6 were given an antibiotic called azithromycin. However, before the study was completed, 6 people dropped out, and of those, 3 people wound up in intensive care and 1 died. And to be clear here, I'm not saying that chloroquine killed them, but like that study from China, some of these people were asymptomatic, some had symptoms. Right, so main point, there was a lot of variation between these people. But anyway, after 6 days, none of the patients who had received both drugs had detectable levels of the virus. Meanwhile, over half who had received only hydroxychloroquine had no detectable levels, and only 12.5% of people who had received neither drug had no detectable levels. Right, so that is hopeful. It has laid a lot of the groundwork for clinical trials here in the United States, but that alone, at this point, is not enough to prove that hydroxychloroquine can be used to treat COVID-19. And according to Dr. Eric Topol, a cardiologist and head of Scripps Research Transitional Institute in San Diego, it is a very weak study, leaving us in suspension of whether the combination strategy has any merit. Dr. Anthony Fauci has also called this evidence only anecdotal at the moment, and so we're still looking at a situation where everything is not guaranteed, and clinical trials here could take several months. And if there is a point that I can end on here, right now scientists are looking into this drug hard. I'm not covering this story to say that the drugs will not be effective. I want there to be hope, but we also need to be as well informed as possible and realistic in our hope. We just don't know yet. And actually, the last thing we're going to talk about today are celebrities in the news. It feels a little bit like this is a reversed Philip DeFranco show. But 1, part of it is related to the coronavirus pandemic that we're currently experiencing. But also 2, if Dr. DeFranco can prescribe something, it's some, a dose of some other news that can take our mind off of the coronavirus situation. So regarding the news that is connected to our current situation, we saw Conor McGregor in the news. Online today, we saw him make a very passionate plea to the leaders of Ireland to lock down the country. As of recording this video, over 1,000 people have tested positive in Ireland. 6 people at least have died. And personally, I love seeing Conor McGregor doing this, someone using their platform for a change, because the only thing people in Ireland, especially older people in Ireland, should have to worry about is getting sucker punched by Conor McGregor and not COVID-19. But honestly, good on him for speaking out here. And the other bit of kind of connected but also disconnected news is Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, and Taylor Swift back in the news together, because apparently it is 2016 but worse. So if you don't remember the complete drama of this situation, don't worry, I'm just gonna hit on the highlights really quick, because this is a situation to certain degrees that has gone on for over a decade. Right, in 2009, Taylor Swift wins an MTV VMA Best Female Video, and while she's accepting the award, that Kanye West "I'm gonna let you finish" moment happens.
I'm really happy for you, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
And that happens, it starts everything off. It's also one of the most viral moments of this time. There's even a hot mic moment where President Obama comments on it.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing?
Why would he do that?
He's a jackass.
Things happened, but in 2016, it greatly escalated when Kanye West dropped his song Famous, referencing the incident in Swift directly by name. And in that song, he says, "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous." Right into this moment and song, it blew up at that time, not only because it was included, but because Kanye said that Taylor Swift approved the song before it was released. Taylor denied this through a publicist. Swift's representative Tree Payne telling the New York Times, Kanye did not call for approval, but to ask Taylor to release his single Famous on her Twitter account, she declined and cautioned him about releasing a song with such a strong misogynistic message, and adding, Taylor was never made aware of the actual lyric, "I made that bitch famous." Right, so publicly, it was essentially a he said, she said. Then, a few months later, the feud got worse when Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian West, released bits of a phone call between the two. And with this, she defended Kanye, claiming that Swift actually did okay the song. And that resulted in massive backlash against Swift, with many slamming her and accusing her of lying. A moment in time that Taylor Swift would later go on to say made her want to just disappear. But over the weekend, the full-length 25-minute call between Kanye West and Taylor Swift from years ago somehow leaked online. And in the full, non-clipped version of this video, it appears to back up Swift's claim that she didn't know about the line where she was referred to as a bitch. And in fact, there's one part of the call where Swift is relieved that he didn't use the word, saying,
"The build-up you gave it, I thought it was gonna be like, that stupid, dumb bitch, like, but it's not."
Following the release and leak of this much larger video that appeared to back what Taylor Swift was saying, we saw Kanye West is Over party. That's essentially imitating the Taylor Swift is Over party that populated 2016 after Kardashian leaked the snippets of the call. And actually with this, it wasn't until several days later that we saw both Swift and Kardashian speaking out on this. We saw Taylor Swift posting to her Instagram story acknowledging the leaked footage and how the controversy has negatively impacted her over the years, but then quickly using this opportunity to point attention to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic that seems to be mentioned in every other headline, writing, "Instead of answering those who are asking how I feel about the video footage that leaked, proving that I was telling the truth the whole time about that call. You know, the one that was illegally recorded that somebody edited and manipulated in order to frame me and put me, my family, and fans through hell for 4 years. Swipe up to see what really matters." And upon swiping up, viewers would access a donation page for Feeding America, which is a non-profit organization devoted to providing food to those in need, with Swift also pushing her followers to donate to the World Health Organization, writing, "If you have the ability to, please join me in donating during this crisis." And following that, we saw several hours later Kardashian West posting her take on the matter with a much longer message, saying Taylor Swift has chosen to reignite an old exchange that at this point in time feels very self-serving given the suffering millions of real victims are facing right now. Going on to say, to be clear, the only issue I ever had around the situation was that Taylor lied through her publicist who stated that Kanye never called to ask for permission. They clearly spoke, so I let you all see that. Nobody ever denied the word bitch was used without her permission. Also saying I never edited the footage, another lie. I only posted a few clips on Snapchat to make my point, and the full video that recently leaked doesn't change the narrative. And following this thread, we saw Taylor Swift's publicist release a tweet, writing, "I'm Taylor's publicist, and this is my unedited original statement. By the way, when you take parts out, that's editing." Right, including that original statement. And that is essentially the situation as it is now. Now, a few things to end on. One, this was an interesting situation because Taylor Swift kind of used this drama as a way to promote to potential good during this coronavirus pandemic. Two, given how historically the Kardashian clan has been just so fantastic at manipulating public attention, it's hard for me to not feel like there's a good chance that they knowingly leaked this, especially because it just so happens that the next season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians launches on Thursday. And three, at the very least, maybe this just took your mind off of much heavier topics for just a brief moment. And so with that kind of thinking, I do pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts looking at this now revised situation? Also, in general, on any story today, I'd love to know your thoughts. But that is where I'm going to end today's show. Thanks, of course, for watching. If you like this video, hit us with a like. If you're new here, want more of these daily videos, hit that subscribe button. Definitely tap that bell to turn on notifications. Also, if you're looking for more to watch, maybe you missed yesterday's show, or you want to catch one of those brand new clips, you can click or tap right there to watch one of those. But with that said,